It's a beautiful fall day, and I've got a few things to accomplish here at the cottage. So I thought I would take you along and discuss some of the ways we have been able to accomplish a simple life here in our home, including the habits we use to stay efficient and organized as a family of 7. The first thing that I want to point out is time spent at home. Honestly, this is probably the biggest of the habits that really helps me to have this simple life, and it's just spending a lot of time at home. I realize that that isn't an option for everyone, and so I wanted to point that out right away at the beginning of this video. If you watch my videos and you see a very calm and peaceful atmosphere, and you hear me talk about how I find joy in homemaking, but you feel discouraged about that because you aren't getting that same connection to your home, you're just feeling frustrated by it, I just want to encourage you that it's probably because I stay at home a lot. I'm here as a wife and a mother. I work from home, I homeschool my girls, and I am really connected and rooted in this place. And so that really helps me to simplify things. I'm not constantly trying to worry about schedules that are happening outside of the home. Of course, there are things that we have as our family when our kids are in sports or various activities that we do have to schedule these things. But most of my effort is really focused on or in my home, and that really does help to simplify things. The second habit that I've found to help cultivate a simple life is to really just have a mindset of appreciation. One of the biggest roadblocks to make that happen is just constantly comparing with others. If you can peel away all of the outside influences and just focus on what you have, I can almost guarantee that you'll feel more grateful and content with life. Homes are that place where we can let our guards down and truly just be ourselves. It's also a place where, let's be honest, there is a lot of work to be done. Cleaning, cooking, laundry, so much goes into running a smooth house. And we can find ourselves being resentful of all of this work if we're not able to reflect back on our blessings. And when that mindset of gratefulness or appreciation is present, even the most mundane chores won't seem so burdensome. Your mind is going to be focused on other things. So for example, if you are sweeping up crumbs from the floor after a meal, you can be grateful that you had food to eat. You had a healthy, balanced meal together, and really think about the blessings instead of the burden of having to clean up the crumbs. And really that can apply to any chore, any household project that you have going on. Really just flipping the script completely and finding the good in that moment. The third habit I've been able to adopt is to look for efficiency by doing a few things at a time. Now, I know that some people will argue that trying to multitask will actually make a person less able to get things done in a timely manner, and I could see how that might be the case for a person who's trying to multitask a couple of very unrelated chores. But when it comes to life at home, there's kind of this ebb and flow and so many things that I find really easy to work together or do at the same time. And again, this kind of goes back to the first point I was making about being at home, because I am able to turn over the laundry when it needs to be moved from the washing machine to the dryer or folded. And I am able to put something in the oven to cook for multiple hours throughout the day. I have that flexibility being here, and that really does help me with efficiency as well. Working together as a team is another huge way that we're able to have a more simple life in our home. There would be really no way for me to get everything done all on my own with our large family. And thankfully, we're all able to pitch in and work toward the common goal of having a tidy home and a home that feels peaceful to each of us. Now, I don't always show the rest of my family doing chores, but I assure you they are quite involved. Certain things like laundry I do prefer to tackle alone, but I can't even tell you the last time that I mowed the grass or had to bring the vehicle in for an oil change, for example. And this habit really isn't just about chores either. It's about having a unified view on the culture of your home. Here in our cottage, living a minimalist lifestyle is sort of just an understood thing at this point. We don't give mini lectures to our kids about clutter or picking up their things, but yet they understand and are respectful of the fact that bringing home random freebies or leaving things lying around would be going against the way that we want our home to be run and how we want our home to feel. All 7 of us are benefiting from living this lifestyle, and so it just makes sense that we all pitch in to make it happen. Most people would probably call this a minimalist channel, and so it makes sense that I would make the point that we have definitely found a major benefit of not having a lot of excess. It's strange because when we first started the decluttering process nearly 10 years ago, I was honestly a little hesitant to get rid of too much because I worried that we would declutter something we might end up needing in the future, or that our house would be so bare that it wouldn't be comfortable. The decluttering was slow at first, with only the most obvious things making their way out, the garbage, the broken things. But as we gained more confidence in the process, we realized how freeing it truly was and how it really did help to simplify our home. Eventually, we pared down to only the necessities and the items that we truly cherish and want to have in our space. And that really has made all the difference. No longer are we spending time dealing with extra clutter, moving things around that don't seem to fit in this bin or that basket, or shoving things to the side so that we can make space for a meal together as a family. This just affords us more time to do other, more enjoyable things together. Another habit that has been very helpful in cultivating a simple life is to give everything a place to belong. I can't really tell you how much this has changed our ability to function as a family. When everyone in the household knows where things are, they can easily access them on their own. They can easily put them away without a lot of thought or without a lot of effort. This just frees up so much mental energy, honestly. There were times before we had developed this where we would lose things and we would be stressed out trying to find it quickly before we left for school, for example. And it would end up being that we would almost fight with each other because, who is the one that used this thing last? Where did you put it? And why didn't you bring it back? And that just really is pretty much never an issue anymore. Now, I understand that our kids are older now and they should be more responsible, which they are, but this is a skill that the sooner that you can implement it, the better, because it will help them in other aspects of life, help your kids to be more organized with their schoolwork or organized when they start a job. And when they go into adulthood and have their own homes, they can find the peace in having things organized and in a place where they don't have to stress out about it. Setting boundaries and establishing a rhythm for the home. I really think that both of these go hand in hand and work together to simplify life. When I talk about boundaries, what I mean is knowing how much capacity that you have, how much energy you'll be able to put forth for various tasks. And I would personally much rather err on the side of taking on less rather than more. So I'm constantly asking myself the question, is this going to add to our quality of life or take away from it? And one thing to keep in mind when setting these boundaries is not to build a burden up for yourself that nobody else cares about. For example, if you don't like to spend time in your kitchen and your family's pretty easygoing meal-wise, don't feel like you have to try out new recipes. Get yourself a good meal rotation and stick with it. That's what I've done. It has really helped to simplify life. Once you realize what you're able to manage, it's easier to then get into that rhythm and have things that flow throughout your day. We don't have a strict schedule per se, but we generally will know that we're going to eat our meals together at about the same time. We have bedtime around the same time each night. Groceries are purchased every 2 weeks and laundry is done on Saturdays. There's of course some flexibility there because things do change from day to day and from week to week, but having that rhythm really helps everyone to have peace in knowing what's coming next. Another thing that I've found is really helpful to create a simple life at home is to do a series of resets. Some happen each day, others once a week, and some only once a month. I definitely don't always feel like washing dishes in the evenings before I go to bed, but I do appreciate that little bit of extra effort when I wake up in the morning and I can walk into a cleaned up kitchen. So having that baseline for different parts of your home, parts of your life that you can get back easily, and you can have it all cleaned and organized and reset, if even for just a moment. That is such a peace thing for the mind. It is so freeing and liberating to know that you're able to do that and to have that just moment where everything is as it should be. And finally, the last habit that I want to talk about is to make sure to leave time to try new things, enjoyable activities that you actually want to do, you want to learn. I feel like as adults, we get ourselves into such a routine and spend so much time trying to keep things running smoothly that we sort of figure we can never fit in anything else. But the reality is that if we can do a good job of setting boundaries, like I talked about in the earlier point, there should be a margin for relaxation and fun. For example, before we moved into our home, I never had a garden. In fact, I pretty much had a brown thumb and couldn't even keep a houseplant alive. But I really wanted to find a way to disconnect from technology and spend more time outdoors in a thoughtful way. And so I started with a tiny patch of garden that first year, and then expanded the space a little bit the next year, and finally ended up with a pretty large garden, the one that we have today. And I very much enjoy my time out in this space. And so I really want to encourage you here at the end of the video to really think about what are those things that would be something you would want to try, something that you could do at your home with your time. Now, it might seem a bit counterintuitive to think that, wait a second, how could I add something else, add something new, and that would simplify life? Wouldn't that complicate things because now that time isn't available to do chores or to do housework, for example? But what happens is a full mindset shift. So instead of just thinking of your home as being this place where you are tied down and you're always doing work, you're going to connect with the peaceful things that you're able to do, the place that you're able to be most yourself and to try new things, and really just to feed your own spirit and the things that you enjoy doing. And so it's going to make you feel more happy and fulfilled in your life, and in turn that's going to make your home life a lot more simple and enjoyable as well. I hope that everyone is having a beautiful, relaxing fall season. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope that you'll stop by the cottage again really soon.